We're just going to edit that out because I can. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Practical Christian Lessons. If you don't know what I edited out, because I edited it out. We are on Wisdom of Sirach, chapter 25 today, and if you haven't seen our big announcement video from last week about our huge resource we just put out about learning, defending, and living the faith, go check it out. Highly recommend it. You'll see in the video we didn't talk about and living the faith. Someone may not have put it in their notes to read when they're going through the video, so now it's awkward. But it's there. Let's get into it. There are three things beautiful to see, and they are beautiful before the Lord and men. The harmony of brothers, friendship between neighbors, and a wife and husband well adjusted together. My soul hates three kinds of men, and I am very offended with their lifestyle. A beggar who is arrogant, a rich man who is a liar, and an old man who is an adulterer and lacks understanding. If you have gathered nothing in your youth, how can you find anything in your old age? Judgment is like beauty in gray hair, and in elders it is to know counsel. Wisdom is like the beauty of old men, and in those who are glorious it is understanding and counsel. The crown of old men is great experience, for their boast is the fear of the Lord. In my heart I have blessed 9 suppositions, and I will mention a 10th. A father who delights in his children, a man who lives to see the downfall of his enemies, a husband who is blessed to live with an understanding wife, a man who does not slip with his tongue, a man who is not served a man less worthy than himself, a man who is blessed to find discernment, a man who is blessed to speak to ears that listen, and a man who has found wisdom. How blessed he is! But there is no greater than a man who fears the Lord. The fear of the Lord is more important than anything. To what will it be compared? Any wound, but not a wound of the heart. Any evil, but not an evil wife. Any misery, but not the misery of those who hate me. Any vengeance, but not the vengeance of enemies. There is no head worse than the head of a snake, and there is no anger worse than the anger of an enemy. I would rather live with a lion or a snake than with an evil wife. The evil of a wife changes her appearance and darkens her face like that of a bear. Her husband will go to his neighbors for meals, and he sighs bitterly and involuntarily. Any evil is small compared to the evil of a wife. May the portion of a sinner fall upon her. A sandy hill of ascent for the feet of old men. Such is an overly talkative wife to a quiet husband. Do not fall for the beauty of a woman, and do not long for her beauty. There is wrath, insolence, and great shame when a wife supports her husband. A downcast heart, a sad face, and a wounded heart are caused by an evil wife. Drooping hands and weakened knees are caused by a wife who does not make her husband happy. Sin had its beginning from a wife, and because of her we all die. Do not give water an outlet, nor boldness to an evil wife. If she does not follow your good leadership, cut her off from yourself. That ended on a high note. I've got a hair in my mouth. You know what? Let's talk on that ending note there. This is sadly a very common in a lot of Second Temple literature and older literature, and I think it's actually a good thing to look back on and reflect on and correct. Is blaming Eve for everything. If you read the Genesis account, and this is noted by several Jewish and Christian commentators, Adam appears to have just been standing there with Eve. After she eats the fruit, it just says she then hands him fruit like he was standing there the entire time. So yes, Eve was deceived and partook of the fruit, but Adam didn't do his job. Adam was the one who was told the commandment to not eat of the tree. He knew he was supposed to be one of the guardians of the garden and should have known, hey, this snake is causing problems. You need to remove this snake. And didn't do anything. And as several New Testament authors point out, death, the cause of sin, entered the world through Adam, not Eve, through Adam. There are many commentators who say if Adam had done his job, or if he had simply not eaten of the fruit, maybe the fall wouldn't have happened. You know, it's possible. Of course we don't. We don't know. That's speculation, but there's some sound arguments and theories behind that. And one of our pastor's first sermons, when he moved into our new church, or at least it feels like it was maybe one of his first sermons, our new head pastor, our one of 29 years retired, and when our new one came in, I believe one of his first sermons was on the passivity of men being our natural tendency to the greatest sin. I'd say it's pride, but I get his point. Whereas, like, when men shirk their responsibility, when you're not taking credit for your things, when you're not doing your job, etc., and this can go for anybody. Though, of course, the point of his message there was that it seems to be the natural inclination of men to move towards this, is just like shirking these things and pushing the blame onto others. Like, you're at your workplace. Sure, that other person could have done something and the job could have been done better, but you also could have done something even though it wasn't your job, and avoided the same problem. Or you could just own up and take responsibility and not even blame the other person whether or not they are at fault. And if they are at fault, what kind of message, like, if you just take all the blame yourself, what kind of message does that send to your coworkers who are also involved in the project? And like, it's a pretty big message. I have seen that happen in places, and like, people are like, why'd you do that? And then they, get a gospel message and are brought into the church right down the line, weeks, months. But yeah, so to quibble with the author here, would strongly disagree with him on the trying to shift blame onto Eve. Unfortunately, that is super common in a lot of ancient literature. I'm not going to get into some of the quotes I heard. I'd rather not talk about those. There's some bad ones. But, I mean, the warning of an evil wife is absolutely true, and that's something that everyone should take into account. Right? We all need to have responsibilities and duties. We need to live up to those, and we need to make sure, especially the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with, isn't someone who's going to lead you into dark paths and lead you into wrong things. They need to be someone, not that, just because someone's not the most spiritually mature individual in the world doesn't mean you shouldn't date them to try and marry them. But, right, you should be wise in choosing people who aren't the opposite of that and are just like ungodly heathens. Not to, diminish their value as a human being, but it's super important for us as Christians, the people that are influencing your life, especially on such a deep level that a spouse connects and influences your life. Right? There's a reason Solomon went so far astray. There's a reason several of the kings went astray and followed after the gods of their wives. It's a big influence, and for a reason. Your marriage is a sacred and holy union, and part of that is becoming one flesh. You become like one person. The influence you two have on each other is immense, for better and for worse. And there's a reason the church needs to do a really good job of helping couples learn how to be in a good marriage, learn how to be good partners, learn how to honor God and everything, and to raise each other up even when it's hard and when you're struggling. And it's not easy, but it's something we've got to learn to do. I think that is where we'll end Wisdom of Sirach 25. Wisdom of Sirach 26, as a heads up, is about a good wife. So we'll see what he has to say on good wives.